Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everyone. What we do now in our lives, or the challenges we have, or the things holding us back, usually directly connect to our childhood. And I just realized that in my life after doing a session with our next guest. Hypnotherapy is what we're talking about. She also harnesses the power of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. And so great to have her back with us, our professional of the year. Dr. Kelly out of New York City joins us once again. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you doing?
Fantastic. So we literally just did a session a few moments ago and then came on here. And you hypnotized me. And I'll be honest, I'm looking to lose some weight. Not a lot. 15 pounds would be great. Gained it a few years ago. I'm working out. I'm exercising. I think I'm eating okay. Should be starting to start seeing some improvement there along the way. I haven't. My weight has stayed steady, and it's higher than it's ever been. And we did a hypnotherapy session, and I'm kind of surprised about, or not, about some things in my childhood, how they tie into some things that happened in the last couple of years. And I'm going to say it's the same thing, the same situation, which I believe ties into why I haven't been losing weight. The session that you did with me, what's your view of it?
What I saw is a repeat pattern. Whatever happened in your childhood, then actually happened again when you were already adult. So if we don't fix whatever happened in the childhood, in the subconscious mind, and release less negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, this pattern may repeat again and again, or even passed on to the next generation.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm pretty plugged into, my life and things like that, how I missed that connection. And I'll say it. The main connection was when I moved, and I was 5, right around 5, because I remember starting kindergarten in a new house. So right around there, 4 or 5. And it was after that I started gaining weight. And then by, 7 or so, I was a big chubby kid. Got picked on, bullied, all of that. The weight that I want to lose now actually happened after I moved. But I didn't even see the connection until I was under hypnosis. I don't know how did I miss that? It just surprises me. And there's other little things floating out there too. Does that happen a lot of times when you work with somebody that they have these realizations?
Yes. Actually, I did the hypnosis on a young girl. She also having the trouble to losing weight, but to me, she doesn't need to lose weight at all. She's actually on the more skinner side to me. But she has been having this eating disorder since she was 12. Now she's only 24, so she has been having this eating disorder for 12 years, half of her life, basically. And when we did the hypnosis, she went back when she was childhood. So she had a twin sister, which is fit, smart, but she was on the kind of overweight side. So to her, she said, "Oh, my parents love my twin sister. They don't love me because I'm overweight." So that's how her eating disorder started. And it has been bothering her for half her life. And this kind of fear of being judged by other people, by parents, by friends, has been affecting her other area of her life. For example, she's a nurse, but her parents want her to be a doctor. But she doesn't want to be a doctor. But she feel like, oh, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, but I don't want to be a doctor. So I don't get the supportive from my parents and I don't deserve their love. So she feels the disconnection between her parents and she feels not loved. And this pattern repeated in her relationship. 3 boyfriends she got, all doctors, and she feels they all hair like her. They're like idea of her life. They are doctors, they are smart. That's what her parents want her to be. But all the relationship didn't end very well. So yeah, the repeating pattern in all the area of her life.
So interesting how this all works. And you said it to me, like you said about her, that you don't look like you need to lose weight. And it's not a lot, but it's more than my comfortable, a lot more than my comfortable weight. And I know that in terms of self-esteem, energy, health, and all of that, it would be better for me. Yeah, people would say the same thing. What do you mean you got to lose weight? Yeah, but I'm talking like 15 pounds, 20 would be fantastic. But I've been trying for a year, but not really trying hard enough. I'm going to say that. And there's reasons for that, which came up during the session with you. Would you say, Dr. Kelly, that most of the stuff that challenges us, it's in the subconscious, and most of it is from childhood?
Yes, almost like 100%. All the trauma, all the origin, like start point is when we were like 4 or 5 years old, or even before our birth, even past life, or even from the generation, our great-grandfather or great-grandma, whatever happened to them passed down to us. Some people maybe have a hard time to think about the past life, but think about this. All our genes we got somehow from our parents, from our great-grandparents, even like people say, if you look at the biology book, actually, maybe some of our atom in our body can be from the dinosaur. So if you think about that, the past life or something, it's not that, kind of like ridiculous or something, because we do have a lot of elements we shared with people or even with some creature we never even know.
What's your advice for people when they're trying to achieve a goal? Like you gave me something about my metabolism to repeat, so my subconscious hears it. Basically, kick up your metabolism. I'm ready for that. Let's do this. Is that impactful to do things like that? If the speaking the right words to yourself for a goal, to repeat them?
Yes. Yes. Actually, I watched a video. It's from a neuroscientist. He said every day, our thoughts just automatically came up like thousands of thoughts. And among all these thoughts, 99% are negative. Only 1% positive. Like we cannot even control it. It just automatically come up. So to be able to function more effectively, think about more positively, we have to put some affirmation, positive thoughts into our brain, like you mentioned about losing weight, right? We can tell your subconscious mind, let's raise the metabolism rate so we can consume the food more efficiently. Of course, that doesn't mean you can just lie down on the bed the whole day eating junk food, doing nothing. No, of course, you have to, eating healthy, have certain workout. I wouldn't recommend anyone go to workout like crazy. That wouldn't do anything good to you. Trust me. One good example I want to give to people is, it's like big news. There's one guy who is very famous, pretty famous. He passed away at age 41 without the last post he posted on the social media. He was running on the treadmill. That's his last post, March 24 around noon. Let's get last post. But then after certain hours, he sent to the hospital. Then the official knew that he died from the heart attack, something like that. So that's why I wouldn't recommend anyone work out too hard. Don't, please don't. Yeah, even you think, oh, like running marathon is healthy. Not everyone are suitable to run marathon. Trust me, if you like, for example, I'm a Chinese medicine doctor. You come to me, I see your tongue, I check your pulse, I would know, are you strong enough to run a marathon? If your heart and your lung is kind of like on the weaker side, please don't run marathon. That's not good for you.
So I want to bring up something else that I heard recently, and that was, well, when we have, some people call it monkey chatter, where you hear voices, telling you, you can't do that, you're not going to succeed. All those things, it's coming from your subconscious too. Excuse me. I heard that when that happens, that we can say to ourselves, thank you for sharing. I love you. So you're telling your subconscious that you appreciate the information, but you're also telling your subconscious that you love them, because what is your subconscious? Typically, it's the little kid inside you. And all it wants is one thing, to be accepted and loved. So to say, I love you, I got you, appreciate that information, it just kind of pushes it off to the side with the monkey chatter. I heard that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of like agree with you. So we have some negative thoughts coming out. Don't try to fight with it. If you fight, there's going to be a battle, right?
Right.
Like you said, if you just say, okay, I hear your voice, so that's okay. So you don't fight with it, it will go away actually, because there's no another part to fight about. But if you try to fight about it, that no, I don't feel in this way, I have to feel another way, then actually gonna maybe started a war or something, gonna consume your more energy. But one of the thing I think what we should do, like in my office, I started to put some affirmation after I finished putting all the needles. Like for example, for pregnant patient, I would say, first I will say them, take a deep breath in, hold it, then breathe out, do that 3 times. So make them kind of go into a very deep, relaxed stage. Then I will say, your body is relaxed, your body is healthy, the baby is healthy and beautiful, growing. So now you have a deep, relaxed nap. So that positive affirmation going into their kind of like subconscious mind, they will remember that. Like even sometimes they may feel like, is the baby okay? I may feel a little bit nauseous or something. But because that positive affirmation went into their subconscious mind, so they kind of like have that also in their subconscious mind. It's not all the time came out negatively.
You've been practicing Chinese medicine for quite some time, and that includes acupuncture. Where did your fascination, Dr. Kelly, with the mind come about to prompt you to want to learn how to do hypnotherapy?
I'll be very honest with you. Actually, me and my husband hadn't talked for a month because of something. We kind of like both kind of like, you don't want to talk to me, I don't want to talk to you either. But think about 2 persons live in the same house, don't talk for a month. That's horrible. That tension is just killing people. Then I said, I have to change this. I just cannot live with this kind of life. That's how I kind of like started to find out the hypnosis. So then actually, the first session I went to, it's a psychiatrist. She didn't really do hypnosis with me at all, actually. She just talked to me, about relationship, how should I handle it? Then after the talk, just the talk, I feel like a lot of relief. Then I said, oh my God, just a talk can help people so much. What about hypnosis? Then I Googled hypnosis. Then I did kind of like not really hypnosis, but kind of like trial hypnosis. Then after that hypnosis, I realized, the tension between me and my husband actually is back to when I was a child, even maybe before I was born, because my parents, they want a boy, but I was a girl, so they kind of like disappointed. So the negative thought of what I had, I mean, maybe I still have a little bit, but like I'm not good enough. So that not good enough kind of like reflect in my relationship, although people say, oh, Dr. Kelly, you are amazing. You have been helping so many people. You're successful. But I have a lot of limiting beliefs. I just don't feel I'm good enough to be like a wife. I'm not good enough to be a mom. I'm not good enough to be like a doctor. That all triggered back when I was a child. So after other people did hypnosis on me, I felt so much lighter and I gained so much confidence. And that's why I'm like, okay, this is so helpful. I'm going to integrate the hypnosis with my acupuncture, with Chinese medicine to help people even deeper.
It all goes back to our childhood, doesn't it?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Like I did hypnosis on several patients. Doesn't matter it's a relationship, or it's about their career, about their pain, or it's about the money. Doesn't matter whatever. It's actually all went back to whatever happened in the childhood.
I see it too when I trace back, like we were talking earlier about losing weight, but even in a relationship I was in years ago, where when things got challenging, she would try to push my button. And this is me. I'm very, very relaxed, very chill, but she would want to push an argument. She would push for that. And I'm like, why? Years later, I looked at it. I was like, oh, okay. Her father was abusive, and that's what she knew. So that was the comfortable spot. Even though it's not where you want to be, you're going back to your childhood, that's where it's comfortable, maybe safe too. And she would try to duplicate that, I feel, with me. And I wasn't having it. And eventually, that relationship ended. But I'm convinced, it goes back to the childhood and other situations. And now that I look at things, I see it in other relationships, even in friends and their relationships. The first thing, they say, I'm having a problem, this is what's going on. Right away, I say, okay, well, what was your childhood like? And your partner, what was theirs like? Because the answer is usually there. Sometimes you might not see the exact situation, but you'll find that I call it connecting the dots once you see the childhood. So, and I appreciate your transparency in what you discovered and how hypnotherapy helped you.
Thank you. And I also want to say we just have to fix the problem, because it just repeat like a pattern. I also want to give the example about that young guy who suddenly passed away at age 41.
Uh-huh.
So his father was adopted when his father was age like around 7. So to his father is because their family was poor, they kind of like cannot raise so many kids. And then when one of their relatives want to adopt one child, then the father said, okay, I will stay, I will be adopted. But think about this, no child wants to be adopted, if their parents still alive, right?
Right.
His father had been living with, his parents for 7 years. Then you got adopted by another family. That's a lot of trauma over there.
Sure.
But his father sacrificed himself for his family kind of like, okay, if I got adopted, my family will have a better life. So this kind of pattern repeated in this guy. So because his family kind of like also, not very wealthy, right? So he working very, very hard to kind of like making money, get famous. And he did. But what's the downside? He basically like sacrificed his health. Every day he only can sleep like 4 hours. He continually on the plane, fly to different city, give lectures. He continually, doing the live show to talk about the stuff, people also really benefit, from. But the point is, his health is really actually kind of like in the risk, because 3 years ago, the doctor told him, you need to have more sleep. You need to relax more. You cannot continually working so hard. But he's like, I'm running a marathon. I'm healthy. So he didn't even pay attention at all to his health.
Yep.
But why? Why he, everybody knows you need to pay attention to your health. But why he didn't really do it? He's still working so hard because he's repeating his father's pattern. I need to sacrifice myself to save my family so my family can be richer. They can have a better life.
Yep. Totally understand it. I know what you're saying. And I looked at my father, who passed suddenly when I was 21 from a heart attack. He was athletic. He would be on my case as a kid, like, why are you putting salt on things? That's not good for you. Everything has salt. Don't do that. I haven't touched a salt shaker since I was a kid. I don't need it. I just, everything has salt. Maybe that came from my father, but here's the thing. And you reminded me of it. He would not sleep. He had a boat. He loved being on his boat. He would change his schedule, his work schedule around so that he could work in the middle of the night so he'd have the days free to go on his boat. He eventually passed away on his boat. I used to do morning radio for many, many, many years, like decades, and wake up at 3-something in the morning. I let that all go, change things around. That's one of the reasons. I wasn't getting sleep. And I really feel that was the main contributing factor in my father passing away. And you see it in research if you don't get enough sleep. So you said that before about that marathon runner, and that sparked that memory. But yeah, you got to watch these things. So I don't want to repeat that, what happened to him. So I get sleep, and sleep is sacred to me now. It's very important. Thank you for all of this, Dr. Kelly. First, for the session and the realization there that I've had today, and everything that you bring to it, not just Chinese medicine, but hypnotherapy as well. For somebody to work with you, they can do that virtually anywhere. Just go to kelly121acupuncture.com. That's your website, right?
Yes, there's a form people can fill in. People can send me email, info@kelly121acupuncture.com. Or they can send me a text message at 347-885-1865. Or call me. If I have time, I will pick up the call. If not, I will call you back. Yes, I would really love to working with people, with hypnosis, or, acupuncture, if you can get into my office, or with, just some herbs to help you in whatever way I can help. I really, really think, integrate with hypnosis, with Chinese medicine, acupuncture, herbs can really help you the most.
Absolutely. And you're in New York, so for the acupuncture part, you have to be in person, but the answers are in us. It's all there. If you unlock the key to get into our mind to figure this stuff out like I did today. Again, thank you so much. We will get together next time, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. and another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.